turn the thing on.
Are you ready? Thank you. Okay, this is the end of year meeting, Wednesday, December 28th, 2022. We'll do roll call. Mark?
Here.
Stan?
Here.
Ron?
Here.
Carla? Present. So we are all here. First up is our public hearing for the appropriation of money. So we will open up the public hearing. Are there any public comments? And just as quick as that, we will close the public hearing. So now we need to adopt this ordinance. So this ordinance is the one that we have to do because Midwest Paving, some of the stuff from last year's projects got paid this year, but Michelle didn't encumber the money. So the money we paid them should have come out of last year, but it got paid out of this year. So we just need to appropriate more funds. All right. So I would move to read this ordinance to appropriate additional funds by title only. Ordinance number 2022-20.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan. Is there any discussion? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes. I would move to dispense with second reading by motion to consider the ordinance 2022-20, an ordinance to appropriate additional funds on the day of its introduction.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan. Is there any discussion? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so being unanimous, I would move to adopt ordinance number 2022-20, an ordinance to appropriate additional funds.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan. Is there any discussion? How do you vote? Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that's adopted 5-0. Next is our 2023 salary ordinance for non-elected employees. This will supersede any previously adopted salary ordinances for non-elected employees. I would move to read this ordinance 2022-21, salary and compensation for non-elected employees for 2023 by title only.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla. Is there any discussion? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that passes 5-0. I move to dispense with second reading by motion to consider the ordinance 2022-21 salary and compensation for non-elected employees for 2023 on the day of its introduction.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla. Is there any discussion? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so being unanimous, I move to adopt ordinance 2022-21 salary and compensation for non-elected employees for 2023.
Second.
Then a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to adopt this ordinance. Is there any discussion? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that's adopted 5-0. Next is the solicitation ordinance. This has been in the works for quite some time. We had it at the last meeting, but Scott wanted to look it over. Scott had no changes. Motion Taylor, no changes. So I would move to read this ordinance 2022-22, an ordinance amending Chapter 110, solicitation by title only.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan. Is there any discussion? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So that passes. I move to dispense with second reading by motion to consider ordinance number 2022-22, an ordinance amending Chapter 110, solicitation on the day of its introduction.
Second.
It's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan. Is there any discussion? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So being unanimous, I move to adopt ordinance number 2022-22, an ordinance amending Chapter 110, solicitation.
Second.
It's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to adopt this ordinance. Is there any discussion? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that's adopted 5-0.
I have a quick question on the salary ordinance that we just passed. What was the ordinance number?
2022-21. All right, claims docket. This is a very short claims docket, just some things that we needed to get paid in this year. The big one, obviously, Midwest Paving. We wanted to make sure that that final check was written. I move to approve this December 28th, 2022 claims docket.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve this claims docket. Is there any questions? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that's approved 5-0. So solar panel discussion, we all got those answers back from the gentleman with the solar panel, Zach. And so what we need to know basically is, are we on board enough that we want him to either come to the January meeting or have a special meeting to have him come present? Or are you totally a no on the idea and it just ends here?
I think we can listen to it. I don't see anything wrong with that.
His answer just, I just had more questions,
Yeah.
so.
And so because of that, I feel like maybe a special meeting would be better, because our monthly meetings sometimes are lengthy anyway. So maybe a special meeting just for that purpose in January, if everybody's okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Depends on when, but yeah.
So,
Okay.
I'm fine with that too. Do we have a sort of preference?
Not a Tuesday?
Not Tuesday would be my preference.
Not a third Wednesday.
Not third Wednesday? All right. No, I don't think so,
All right, I will contact him, find out his availability,
okay.
and I'll be one of those days.
And if anybody has any other days that are no,
Yeah.
they can send an email or shoot a text, right? All right. Election of officers for 2023. So we need a council president. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Jim.
Second.
Okay, any other nominations? So Stan has nominated Jen and Carla seconded. I guess we'll take a vote on that. Is there any comment? How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I'll abstain from voting. We need a council vice president. I nominate Ron.
Second.
Of the what?
Vice president?
Of the council?
No, I don't want to. I take back that nomination. Stan. I don't know the order. I was going to do the
You left in
utility.
the world.
I was going to do the utility president and then do the
I'll
vice
second
president.
that. That's been seconded already.
I'm still saying I nominated him. I nominated Stan for council vice president. It was seconded by Mark. My bad. Any discussion? Okay. How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
I vote yes. Okay. So that is voted for. So now we need a utility president. I would like to nominate Ron.
Second.
All right. I nominate Ron for utility president. That was seconded by Carla. Is there any discussion? Okay, how do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes, Ron. Do you want to vote for yourself or do you want to abstain?
Abstain. Or yes.
Or, I think it's got to be one or the other. I think you can.
Yes.
Okay. Utility vice president.
I nominate Carla. Seconded.
Okay, Carla has been nominated by Stan, and that was seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Okay, how do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Carla, would you like to vote?
I'll abstain.
She abstains, but it's still 4-0. So now our other positions, I don't really know what you would call these, but we need police liaisons, building and maintenance,
You can.
Those are appointments,
In the
aren't they?
past,
Appointments, thank
appoint
you.
them and you can take a week
Police, building, maintenance, streets.
Leave it all the same.
What am I missing?
Area
or two. We need a building.
Oh, area
maintenance.
plan. Police, building, maintenance, streets, area plan. Am I missing anything?
Yeah, building.
Building, maintenance, streets, area plan, police liaisons.
I think that's
We
it.
need to fix it. Review it or something.
Yes. So for police, we're gonna leave it with Ron and Jen. Area plan, we're gonna leave Carla, if you're okay with that, Carla.
Yes.
Streets, Stan, and then building and maintenance, Mark. If we're all okay with that.
Yep.
Does anybody hate their position like they tradesies? Okay. Public comment, is there any public comment? All right. Council comment, Mark?
Nope.
Well, Carla?
Happy New Year.
I'm skipping you. Carla?
No.
Ron, do you have anything?
Happy New Year.
That's it? Happy New Year! Okay, I have nothing, so
That's gotta be a record.
this meeting is adjourned. How many minutes?
Not even 15.
Oh,
14
don't leave though, you have to sign these. Don't go.
Less than that, because we started late, I think, so. Wow.
Weird.
No, that behind.
Way over there, come out. Don't ahead.
January meeting, but when we were approving the 2023 salary ordinance, can you hand me the papers? No? Part of that, we're not changing anything, but for the utility clerk, right now, it just has a range from $10 to $20, and I think that just like with other people's raises or stipends or whatever, we need to consider our utility clerk and bumping up her pay. And I meant to do that when we approved it, but I didn't make note of it, so I forgot. So, but I'd like to do that so that it can happen for the next payroll. So, does anybody have any?
I'd like to make a motion to increase the pay by $2 an hour.
Second. Sorry, guys. My bad. All right, there's been a motion made by Ron and seconded by Carla to increase our utility clerk's pay by $2. Is there any discussion?
So the audio is not turned on. Does it need to be?
Can you-
We're okay with that?
Hopefully you can hear me.
It's still got things in it around.
Okay.
I do think that that's fair. Is there any public comment?
Is that $2 an hour?
$2 per hour.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. We'll take a roll call vote. How do you vote, Mark?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So that will go into effect for this pay period starting January 1. So for 2023. Yes. Okay. Meeting adjourned again. I'll be back when I forget.